addiction. This May, I lost my brother to an overdose. So before this, let me rewind a little bit and tell a little bit about my brother. So growing up, my brother had the biggest smile, the brightest eyes. Him and I, when we were together, we were inseparable. We were always side by side. I was sitting on his lap. I was on his shoulders whenever it was his weekend to be at our house. Him and I were joint at the hip. So fast forward a couple years after that, he got in with the wrong crowd, the wrong friends. He struggled, and he ended up starting to use drugs. It started off low, he started hanging out with friends and smoking weed and whatnot, and then it eventually escalated to more serious things such as heroin, which is actually what he overdosed on. And he actually had a step-parent that almost enabled his behavior. So that's kind of what I would like to talk to you guys about today, is just how codependent and enabling behaviors, even if they are not intentional, can only increase the likelihood of the drug abuser to continue using. So let me explain what those are a little bit. So codependent is when someone, oftentimes a loved one, the addict's spouse, or very close family, they rely on they believe that the love, the affection, and the acceptance of the addict is based upon the way that you treat them, and you have to treat them the way that they want to be treated. Enabling is when someone, oftentimes the codependent, encourages the drug abuser, whether that is intentionally or unintentionally, to continue using. These can be things such as giving the addict money, paying for their things. It can also be things like keeping their secret, keeping their addiction from other family members, how it was in my case, keeping the addiction from their children, neighbors, things of that sort. And it can also be things such as blaming yourself for their actions. So saying, if I was a better parent or I was a better sister, then they wouldn't be doing that. So from my experience, I would like to help to bring awareness to how you can recognize if you or anyone in your life is an enabler, and how you can not be. Once you recognize these enabling behaviors, it's the first step to helping the addict become clean and start the recovery process for both the addict as well as yourself or anybody else involved. So the first reason, the first way that we can stop being an enabler is make the commitment to stop helping them financially. When you give them cash, what's the first thing they're going to go buy? Drugs. They are sick, have a disease, and that is the first thing that their brain thinks of. That's what they want to go do. That's what they want to go spend their money on. So it's important to not feed that addiction. Something else we can do is learn the power of the word no. And trust me, this one's not easy. None of them are easy, but by saying no, you're taking back the power to you. And it's tough because when you love somebody who is addicted, you want to see them be better, and you want to see them become healthy again, so you want to help them. You want to give them everything. But by giving them everything, they're never going to realize that they have a problem. So one of the last things that we can do is just stick to your guns. Make the commitment to not give them money anymore. Make the commitment to say no and stick strong to that, because once you take away their resources, their money, and you stop taking that burden upon yourself, that's when they are going to realize that they do have a problem, when they run out of money and they can't buy the drugs anymore, or they have, not that you ever want to have somebody live out on the streets, but once they start taking responsibility for their own actions, that's when they're going to realize that they have a problem, and that's when they are going to seek help, is when they've finally hit rock bottom. So trust me, I know it's not easy to not help them financially, to not help them, but it is the first step to recovery, so don't be an enabler.